Hey, driver, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey, Ron B, what's up?
Hey.
Hey, last night I heard on the news that scientists have definitely found there's proof that being gay is not genetic.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that story. And this, well, let's face one thing. If this gets adopted, you won't be able to get, like, minority status in terms of rights for gay people, because now it's a choice. So how does that make you a minority? But here it is. The attempt to prove that homosexuality is determined biologically has been dealt a knockout punch. The American Psychological Association publication includes an admission that there's no homosexual gene, meaning that it's not likely that homosexuals are born that way. But any of us that were in first grade, we knew who the gay boys were then before anybody was having sex.
Yeah.
There was always the boys, and there wasn't a lot of them. Don't get me wrong here. You know, there was always a couple of boys who much rather jump rope with the girls and do the girl things than, play baseball with the boys. They just seem like, even at that age, we used to call them sissies, but, when they grew up, I'm sure there was with the gay people. So, Fez, this is a knockout blow on the fact that being gay isn't a choice.
See, I don't think it's a knockout blow because it just says there's no gay gene. Maybe there's a variety of things. Maybe it's not just one little switch that makes somebody gay. There's also studies, on hormones, that something goes on in the womb the way a fetus develops, where someone is still born gay.
This says biologically. So biologically, they said biologically it's been dealt a knockout punch. So I would assume that the hormonal thing would go hand in hand. Now, believe it or not, Fez, I'm not a biologist.
I believe.
I remember being thrown out of biology class for constantly bringing up, when are we going to learn how to grow herb? Why can't we just fucking focus on herb?
Should have been kicked out then.
But it would also set this up. If it seems to be so hard to be gay, and some people struggle with it, why make that choice if it is a choice? See, the whole thing about whether even the point of proving heterosexuality, I think it's tough to pull out, because let's say a guy, they're saying, I'm attracted to women. Well, not necessarily. There are a lot of women that you yourself are not attracted to. There are women out there most guys couldn't even get it up for. Let's fucking face it. And that has nothing to do with whether you're straight or gay. You're just not physically attracted to that person. And most of the time, even if you look at heterosexuals, what percentage of women are they actually attracted to? It's got to be a minority of women. And if this whole thing, like it was just biology, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think dogs are attracted to all dogs, are they not?
Yeah.
I don't think a dog would turn down another fucking dog.
Well, male dogs are. Male dogs will fuck anything, but I'm not sure if female dogs will
female dogs look like they're not even that into fucking. Yeah. It looks like a rape. Anytime you see two dogs go at it.
They're very disturbed.
It looks like a rape. But, Fez, what's wrong with it being a choice? Why not be okay with being a choice?
Because if it's a choice, then it takes away, it leads to arguments about taking away someone's rights, or maybe not taking away rights, but not giving people equal rights.
What equal rights? But here's the thing. What I'm trying to say is, the women I've been with, other than some, I was drunk and with sweat hugs, it's been a choice. The women I've had relations with is definitely a choice. And I could not even tell you what the choice I made was. You know what I mean? Like, It was definitely a subconscious thing that this person I like to be around. Not just have sex with, but want to spend time with. I don't know if I could really get it down on paper. I mean, I could say, here's all the things I like about that person, but, maybe that's just because I was already attracted to them. Maybe some of the things they do would annoy the shit out of me and somebody else, But my point is this, I don't see it as big a deal as some of the right-wingers are making it out to be. And quite frankly, I don't see it as being a big a deal as a lot of the gay people. Like even the gay pride. Pride of what? What are you so proud of?
Yeah.
What about some human pride?
You can't say we're normal by being gay, but then also be proud.
Yeah, and we go through this with anybody with minority status. They say, don't stereotype us, and then their parades are filled with the same fucking stereotypes.
Yeah.
Even the fucking, no matter who they are, it's like, don't stereotype the Italians as gangsters. We're great cooks. We're fantastic lovers. Well, there's the fucking stereotypes, too. If you start to say all Italians are great cooks or great lovers or we have a natural appreciation, now you're stereotyping yourself. Here is John. John, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing? I just wanted to say that there's always been, geneticists for the most part have known that there's been no basis for saying that homosexuality or anything similar has a genetic basis.
Uh-huh.
Where this came from was, if you remember back in the 70s, the community described it as being an alternative lifestyle.
Right.
Because that was more of a rights-oriented movement.
Yeah.
What happened was that the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act in the early 80s made it illegal to discriminate against anyone who had any sort of disease or physical disability. Therefore, the political agenda shifted to call it a genetic-based situation.
You're a biologist yourself, right?
Yes.
So what would you say makes a person gay then?
It's more likely behavioral, where if you follow like a Skinnerian approach, it's just that there are certain issues or feelings that are not appropriately dealt with. Because if you think of it from a genetic point of view, there's a concept of genetic altruism, which means that what isn't good for the species doesn't get propagated. And if you think of a disease like Tay-Sachs disease or sickle cell anemia or something like that, these are genetic aberrations. We're not saying that you hurt people who have this or don't take care of them or not provide relief, but to call that something that is propagated or pushed forward is also a falsehood.
So you're saying it's an aberration and one that could be corrected?
I don't know if I'm willing to go that far because it might be, like Fez mentioned, it could be a spectrum of issues, or a polygenic type of disease.
Right.
Or I don't want to use the word disease, but a polygenic situation.
Yeah, that's not.
But let's do this, right? If a guy is a chubby chaser, if he likes the big fat women, right?
Right.
There's no reason for him to change his behavior. Why not just enjoy it? The
Correct.
same thing could be said for gay people. Instead of making this large fucking thing out of it, about how difficult, just enjoy whatever is in your nature without giving it this gigantic fucking weight.
Well, sure. I mean, if you think about it, you may prefer chocolate and I prefer vanilla, right? But that doesn't mean that we have a genetic predisposition towards it. And it doesn't mean that we need to force anyone to change anything.
Yeah.
And it really is the fine line between acceptance and tolerance. One is, you tolerate one situation. The other one is you actively promote other people to accept your belief. It's no different than, say, trying to convert someone from Catholicism to Judaism or vice versa. It's not genetic. It becomes behavioral. It becomes something that's accepted and makes you feel comfortable.
All right. Thanks a lot, John.
All right.
Does that make you feel a lot better, Fez?
No, I don't think so. No, because even if he's saying that this is behavioral and can be corrected, there are going to be people.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say it could be corrected.
He didn't?
He said I wouldn't go that far when I asked him. He basically said that was a behavioral thing that you got into. Think of it the same way that I say about a fucking chubby chaser. If I try to put him with a 93-pound woman, he might not even be able to get a hard on. Doesn't mean that he's against women or whatever. He just has his preference. What is wrong with people having their preference? That seems to be plenty to me.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with people just having their preference, but there are still people that don't think that that person is on an equal footing.
Okay, I'll agree with that. So
Because of that preference.
Right.
Even though that preference isn't illegal.
Right. So what we're saying now, well, it used to be.
Sure.
You had to fight to. So let's not fucking hide behind legalities now because you had to fight against them all those years. But my point is this. Let's say in the case of the chubby chaser.
Right.
He's not going to change the way he is, nor should he, right?
Right.
What you're saying is everybody should respect him and not giggle when he's walking down the street with a 450-pound woman.
Right, exactly.
That's going to fucking happen.
And
that is, and I'm being fucking honest here.
True.
If you're going to when you decide to step out of the norm, right?
Right.
People are going to stare. If I decided to get a 4-pound fucking bolt put through my nose, right? Nothing illegal, and it's not going to hurt my health or the health of anyone around. Nobody can, I'm going to get stares because I've chosen something out of the norm. So what? If I'm the type of guy who puts a bolt through his nose, what do I fucking care what anybody else thinks?
Yeah, you have to be able to deal with the stares. But also, it's like the chubby chaser is allowed to marry his 450-pound woman.
So it all comes down to marriage for you.
Well,
there's no other issue.
Well, I think that's the big gay rights issue.
It hasn't been.
No,
it's only the Johnny Come Lately rights issue. That's very, very new in gay rights talk.
Right. But it's the next step. There was like housing and stuff like that.
Exactly. So you can't get upset when people say slippery slope. How far does this have to go? It's never just about one issue. So when you say that it is, that is a lie. Scott, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Yeah, hey, I just want to tell you guys, before I ask my question, this is why it's the greatest show on the radio, because you make dick jokes and then you talk about things like this. But my question was, he had said that it wasn't like a pre-genetic disposition for a gay person. Do you think like a drug addict or an alcoholic is because I've always sort of heard that it's a pre-genetic disposition.
It gets called a disease by some people, but if I had to guess, and again, I'm not a biologist, but it seems to be more of an allergy to me, where some people are a little more allergic to things, some people a lot more allergic, and sometimes, let's say if you ate crab every day of your life, at a certain point of your life, your fucking body would start to turn against that a little bit, and the crab, you would almost get allergic reactions to crab. So you get some people who just seem to be addicted at age 14, age 15. Other people will be cruising along with their partying up until they're 50, 60 years old, and then suddenly their body just doesn't fucking handle it. Their body and their mind just doesn't handle it. My own personal thing is, you only get so many drinks. You only get so many cocktails in your life before it fucking turns on you. Some people, that just have a couple, they can go their whole life without it. Other people who hit it hard, it's going to happen earlier. Other people who hit it medium, it's going to happen earlier. Now, none of this stuff is scientific, but it's just stuff that I've seen myself. But taking it back to this thing, Fez, one of the things that I think has hurt, that I agree with the biologist about before, is when the gays tried to turn themselves into a minority rather than being an alternative lifestyle in the same way of like some people are swingers, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? They've decided can't be with the same woman, or some guys like to see their woman with another fucking guy, whatever. But they're not blaming it on there's a genetic gene for that.
But I think a lot of that was maybe like financial reasons and stuff.
Yeah, well, you can't live a lie and get over that way. There was no reason. I think it was a real problem, just personally, when they went in the thing of we are a minority, much like blacks and Puerto Ricans. Because there's no such things as blacks and Puerto Ricans even being a minority, except for in the country that we happen to be in now.
Oh, true. Yeah.
They're not a minority. Blacks are not a minority. They just happen to be a minority in the United States of America. But there's nothing, oddly different about blacks when you go to, different places. They just happen to come into a place that was founded by Europeans. So there was a lot of European blood here. Same thing that you could say about Spanish people. Most of the places you go, most countries where there's Spanish people, that's a majority of the country itself. So there's these things, they get set up as if they're, cut and dry. In the United States, what happens to black people when there's suddenly Asian blood in the family, there's Spanish blood in the family, there's white blood in the family? At that point, is that kid also a minority? Is the grandchild a minority? A lot of the minority stuff, I think, was only set up to work in a very short timeline. Maybe the 1970s,
Yeah.
when there was some walls to break down. 866 Ron Zero Fez, 866 Ron Zero Fez. But, Fezzy, you have to look at this report, and if you're going to take it at face value, which I haven't heard you disagree with it yet, there's no homosexual gene.
Well, there's no homosexual gene that they've found. There's no biological reason that they have found.
The only
but you can't argue with people's behavior and people's desires where it's
So
like...
what? So what? That's like saying I'm going to argue with people's desires that only eat chicken or will never eat chicken. Doesn't mean that there's some genetic mutation about it. That's behavioral. A lot of that is learned. How come you end up hearing about so many gay people say that they were like abused as a kid, right? No, there could only be two reasons for that. Number one, they got sexually abused, so there was something about that event that kind of makes them want to recreate it further along. Or two, some of these pedophiles could just spot a gay kid. You know what I mean? And I will tell you, I remember being in first grade and being what I called the sissy boys, and they were with the girls. They were accepted by the girls, and quite frankly, they were accepted by the other boys other than a couple of taunts. No one took it as a gigantic threat until later. Later in life, then suddenly, you better not try anything with me. But when you're in first or second grade, that's all pretty much accepted.
Yeah, and those are little kids that no one knows what being gay really even means, and yet all the behavior and the feelings are still there from very, very young, probably birth.
You say the behavior...
Even though there's no gene that's been found yet.
See, I'm going to disagree with that, though. Because the behavior wasn't sexual. The behavior, let's say they had feminine traits, but there's straight guys that have feminine traits.
Right.
And that person isn't gay.
True, but there are gay people that have known they were gay since they were very, very young. But
that could also be a choice the same exact way. It doesn't mean that this was just loaded upon them. You know what I mean? You could have asked me in third or fourth grade what kind of girl that I was attracted to. Mm-hmm. And it probably wouldn't be that different than it is now. But I'm not sure that had anything to do with my genetic makeup at all. It probably had more to do with preferences that may or not been based on my mom and my aunts and my sisters and her girlfriends and just girls that I saw when I was even too little to know what sexuality was. All right, Dave, you got a gay brother, right?
Yeah, very gay.
Well, first of all, let me get that out of the way. Sorry.
Thank you
for your condolences, Ron.
Why are you sorry that he has a gay brother?
I'm just trying to say that.
Thank you, Ron. It helps.
I'm not holding it
Why
against...
are you accepting his apology?
It's just something nice for him. It makes me feel better.
When the gay brother came out, how old was he?
He was 34.
That is young.
Now, why, if you were born that way, would it take to age 34 to embrace it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you were genetically gay, it would seem to me that it was outside of choice is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Why wait till you're 34 to say I'm gay?
And none of us knew. But looking back on it, it was
The thing
so
that
obvious.
the thing that makes me I know.
He had bodybuilder posters.
I know. I
But
will tell you this.
We just like to think,
And no body.
We really thought he just liked lifting weights.
Yeah.
But he had shirtless, like, big guys all
Why
over the
won't the
place.
family admit when I'm sure the neighbors knew?
Well, he didn't
I'm
have like
sure
a
the
list
neighbor
for
knew.
anything.
Let me say this. There's a young nephew in our family.
Yeah.
We know. And the mother does not.
He's a good one, but my brother's a great guy.
And we know. We see it in the way he dances. I'm not saying he's not a nice guy. I'm just saying genetically,
It's very
according to this
difficult.
report. You know,
I
yesterday,
agree.
Fez, or the other day, you were all on the side of science versus religion. And when you don't agree with science, you turn into a person of faith.
I think so.
All right? And
Yeah.
that's where you are now. You're acting like a person who wants to believe that things are predetermined rather than there's choices. I happen to think choice is the best thing that you could get.
I think Eastside Dave's brother tried it both ways.
Oh,
He did.
ass and mouth.
Where he, waiting till 34, he probably at some point tried to change and couldn't. Probably thought maybe it was a behavioral thing. I will do my best to change, realized that it wasn't.
Chris, you're on Run and Fez. Chris. Oh, he had a good question, too. I want him. Here's what his question was. If there is no gay gene, is there a straight gene? And I'm willing to say no. Absolutely not. And the reason why I know this is prison. Is that all these guys on the street who would have no predisposition to being with other men, they get a life sentence and they say to themselves, I'm going to grab a little twink. I'm going to grab a little twink and spend some time with. And there are fucking really tough guys that would be considered, real men. They'll do their fucking 25 years in prison. They'll be with guys. And then when they're out, they're with girls again. They're not bisexual. Mm-mm. They're just fucking playing whatever game they got put into. Is this the game? Then that's the one I'm fucking playing.
But isn't that sort of along the same lines of there's just nothing else around? Like if you were starving to death, you would probably eat something out of a dumpster?
Well, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That people will make choices. All these things are choices. What I don't understand from you, Fez, why is there no power in choice? Why is there no power in saying, I'm making a choice, I'm glad I made it, I'll make the choice again tomorrow? What is wrong with that? I say the same thing to alcoholics where, I have to drink, whatever. You don't have to. You know what I mean? You make the choice on a daily basis that you don't want to return to that behavior. And if you fuck up, you can, change it again.
Well, I think there is an embracing of choice because it's either you act on the way you are or you keep trying to hide the way you are.
Not at all. Why would you hide?
Or you stay with. You
don't have to hide anything. Look, you put it this way. Do you think there is a genetic thing that makes one man and one woman be together? I don't think there's anything along those lines. So if you're Dave McDonald and you find yourself attracted to other women, right? And you have a woman that's not open to that, you're making a choice every day. No matter what you're doing in life, you're making a choice every day. Mm-hmm. I don't see the big deal about it. What I don't like about it is the victimhood that fucking takes place in some people. Like, I'm a victim. I didn't want to be this way. I just am, and what am I going to do?
Or also, gay people seem to willingly want to categorize themselves. And I think that's, like, the problem that a lot of straight people have with them. I mean, those who have a problem with gay people, it's that they have a problem with that label. You know what I mean?
That they don't like giving up the power to it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, if you're gay, be gay, and there you go. But it's like people have a problem when others are, they have to categorize themselves. Hey, I'm gay. Look at me and, address me. And does this bother you? It's right. It would be like me. Like, does my red hair bother you?
It does.
Oh, I got red hair.
It does.
Really? Does it really?
Yeah.
It does.
It's distracting.
It sickens me.
Sickens, though. Sickens?
Well, you reflect light. And that's a problem. You notice that I'm even wearing shades inside? Where are you going? Where are you going, off to Red Town?
I went there already.
Let me tell you
I
something.
made the stop.
My grandfather said to me, he said, I'd rather be dead than red on the head.
Why would he say that, though?
Well, he wanted me to beat up redheaded kids. He used to give me a quarter every time I hit a redheaded kid, boy or a girl.
That's terrible.
Is it?
Yes, actually.
Well, it was one of my better family memories, and you just shit on it. Here is Scott. Scott, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hi. I just want to back Fez up. I think the genetic factor here, like the genes are what determines that Dave has red hair. But I think that hormones are more related to your behavior. And, the hormonal conditions while you're being developed in your mother, I think could have a larger impact on, your development behaviorally.
Are you reading this? Because it really seems like you're struggling. Jeff, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, I want to get back to your point in first grade. I absolutely agree. We could always tell in the first grade who the sissies were, but by the same extension, we always kind of had an idea who the jocks were, who the nerds were, who the guys were going to narc on us, and we used to be a little bit behind. And, I don't think that really evolved into, sort of a protected class. I mean, you don't see groups go around for guys who play Dungeons and Dragons wanting special rights and special things in the law.
What those people do, the dorks, they just try to say, we're going to have our own clubs and hang out together. We're all going to be the first ones in line when Star Trek comes out, make a big fucking stupid deal about it. They know they're fucking dorks. They know they're nerds. In the same way that and I agree with them, you could really tell who was going to be a real jock in first or second grade, because that kid tended to be the fastest kid. He was one of the tougher kids. He could play easier. And again, do we need to have special groups to protect that behavior?
No, we don't need special groups to protect those behaviors because...
It's really Earl. You really sound more and more like Earl.
No, we don't need that because those people are protected.
How do you figure?
If it's a straight athletic person, that person has all the rights in the country.
You have rights too. Everybody has rights. We're all citizens.
A gay person.
And we don't have rights for everything.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't have rights to, have sex with children.
Well, someday, Dave, you keep trying. But let's say this.
The children have rights.
Hunters, do they have a right to hunt anywhere? No.
No.
Right. Fishermen don't have the right to fish anywhere. Everybody's got rules to follow.
Some things you can't
You're right.
do.
This is really... It never was even in the Constitution. You could do everything you want anytime you want. Because you can easily sit down and say, I wish I was fucking, I wish I could just run every red light. I know I could do it. And I'm going to say this, I could. Even if there was fucking heavy traffic coming the other way, I know my abilities. I know I could make it through.
Also, like the hottest wardrobe of the fall, gay people just are into something and then not into something.
Right.
Why would...
What do you mean?
Whatever happened to gays in the military?
They
That's
dropped
an issue
that. We used to have to hear about it all the time. Now they dropped it.
Where's that gone?
Yeah, and there never used to be the gay marriage thing. And now it's the only fucking thing they have.
It'll go away, and then it'll be like, we want gay game show hosts.
Right. But remember before...
I think we have them.
When they were so furious about the AIDS thing?
Yeah. It's always something new. They're so fickle, these people.
None of us want AIDS. We're not doing it to you. We don't even like it.
And Pedro walking around, putting the condom on a banana.
Enough with Pedro.
They're all
Someone even
things.
point this out, though, that Pedro might have been the worst person in the history of the real world. Be funnier.
He was. Such a tight ass.
Why can't you be funnier?
Oh, yeah. Getting upset about Puck with the peanut butter.
I don't know why he went in the house.
But, here's the thing. His point is this. Gay people tend to just care a lot about the issues that have to do with them.
Sure.
So does everyone else. So don't think that Americans care about anything more than their own personal shit. If you ask most people what they were most upset about, I'm sure it would be something in their neighborhood. If you really ask most people, what do you care about? It ain't Iraq. Right. It's that some fucking guy across the street from them has junk cars.
Hey, I mean, you don't see me protesting my commute. And then, until the
Well, that was
Why
a fucking
not?
choice. That was a choice, you idiot. Who goes to Jersey once they're living in the city?
Well, until the Davy Max travel chopper comes around, I'll be protesting.
It's not going to.
Well, then I'll get back to work on Nizzers.
On what?
Nizzers. I'll get back to work on
Oh,
them.
that's the knife scissors.
Yeah, knife scissors.
Yeah. Here is Paul. Paul, you're on the Run of Fez show.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, good morning for me, I should say. I think you guys are confusing the political argument that the gays are trying to make with the actual, is it a biological choice or if it's a mental choice for them to be gay? Because no one ever chooses really to say, okay, hey, you know what, I like women or I like guys. They just do. And the argument that you're making with Fez is more so about them, gays in the military and wanting to be married and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Before we get to that, let's at least step back and say all this time we heard that it was genetics. We don't have a choice, according to this report. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying, this is a scientific report, so what do I know? I can't fucking run an experiment to fucking find out, but, let's look into it. It was the Psychological Association that came up with this, so it seems like they're people a little more learned than me. But the fact of the matter, it is a fucking choice. So let's start there. We've made a choice. And the point is, if you're making a choice, then you're not a victim. You're making a fucking choice. That should be a position of strength.
Well, then I guess the gay groups want to be able to make more choices.
I'd like to make more choices, too. We just sat around and told you. Not everybody gets what they want. But it doesn't make me a victim that I can't hunt anywhere that I want. I've seen raccoons in Central Park. And fucking outside, I could pick one off the other day. Lord knows I'm the shot. What am I going to do? Hit a kid? Not with this eye. Not with this fucking eye. I could kill a raccoon while a fucking kid was holding it. And the most the kid is going to get is a small amount of spray across his face.
Boy.
Blood?
Yeah, it's going to be blood. But it's not going to be a lot.
Spray.
It's going to be a headshot. So it's probably going to be more brain than anything.
I would think it would haunt the child's
Shake it off.
life, but
shake it off, baby.
I don't think
That's
you
what I
shake
like
that
to
off,
say.
actually.
That's what I like
Ron.
to say to everybody, shake it the fuck off.
Really? What about, like, people with paralysis? What about, like, a paralyzed guy? Do you say that to him?
To get shake. You know what I'd say? Blinky, don't let everything get to you. I'm going to put on the TV. I'm going to be back in a few hours.
Pretty
Sports
cold.
Center?
It's a cold.
Not at all.
How would you like to be paralyzed? They leave you in front of the TV. They get you on the ESPN to one of those sports centers things. Get some more programming! Why the same show over and over?
Boy, you really got to make that choice early in the morning. What channel you want?
Put me on fucking Turner Classic. I want some of the old stuff. My only problem is an itch. I'd be going fucking crazy.
Still, people are walking around. I think you want to stay with
But
the
I
news.
mean
'cause
stuff
they're
that
always
happened to you when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Nobody had a fucking easy ride, believe me.
I had a great childhood,
I'm sure.
actually.
Well, and look what you did with it. You shit all over it. So maybe the worst thing you could have is a great childhood. Maybe the way that your fucking family let you down is that you had a terrific childhood and you're still expecting it to go on.
Yeah, I mean, there's some truth to that, probably. I mean, I was the best baseball player in Little League by
Just
far.
stop it. No one gives a fuck. Even there in that dumb town of yours, nobody cared.
It's over.
Doesn't mean anything.
That really
You played
crushes
for the
me.
blue team. So what?
It was the Braves. How'd you know that?
Here it is. You've showed me pictures, you idiot.
Oh.
You're the only grown man I know showing off pictures of himself when they were 11. You're on manifest. By the way, your eyebrows bug me. And I'll just leave it at that.
What's up, guys?
They look like two albino fucking caterpillars having sex.
They'd bother me if I could see them.
I'm like the reverse John Madden. He was blonde hair with gigantic red eyebrows.
Who cares about you? I'm talking right now to Yuri.
Good.
Go ahead.
What's up, guys? I mean, I personally believe that people are probably born gay, but what I think the problem that the homosexual community made was that, I mean, even if you're born gay, there's still a vast minority of the population, maybe 1% to 3%. And when the movement sat there and tried to say that this was normal life, not to say that gay people aren't normal, but it's still not the norm. When they tried to push that agenda, I think it turned a lot of people off because there's nothing wrong with being a homosexual, with being a gay guy, but it's still not the norm. 98% of the population is straight. That 2%, there's nothing wrong with them, but they're still a minority, and they're still just 2% of the society. They're not the norm of society just by numbers alone.
Yeah.
So I think that's where they screwed themselves in terms of their movement and that, by trying to push the agenda on everybody else by saying this is normal life, because it's not.
So if somebody it's the amount of the percentage of the population that they make up. If there was only 1% of the elderly in the country, they should have things that they should not be able to get things that other people could.
Well, let's put it this way. We go through this all the time. Look at people who would like to see Spanish on stop signs and everywhere. They are a minority, and they're going, but there's a lot of us, and we don't want to learn English. We don't want to join in. We want Spanish up there. You fight against that. I lived with you in Florida. You didn't like it when the Spanish people wanted to put the signs up. You don't get everything that you want. And here's the fucking problem with the choice the gay guys make.
What's that?
There is still unused pussy out there. And that's the thing that fucking gets to me. I could understand if we found out, hey, there's a bigger male population than female population. But the fact that there's still unused pussy, still untapped, to me, that's just, it's unexplainable.
It just makes them that much more gay to me.
I know. They come off gay.
Why would you
know
want
that too,
that?
Fezzy? Gay people, they come off so gay.
Really gay.
Yes, a lot of gay people are gay. That's
yeah.
your point,
Too gay.
Dave?
That's what, then when we say it, it's
Too
bad.
gay. Too gay.
I don't think there's too gay.
Tiny, you're on Run Fez.
Hey, Ronnie, you sound like $1 million.
Thank you, my friend. I feel like $1.380.
Hi, Fagsy.
All right, that hurts.
It's Ratley. It's Watley.
Make up your mind.
Fagsy Twatley. I had a couple of points. First of all, Dave, I'm sorry for your brother.
Thank you very much.
And I think you were right. Gays have a choice and have a right. They have a choice to stay in the closet, and that's a right to stay in the closet.
Said the man named Tiny.
Yeah.
But that's only for his dick size. No other
Yeah, that's
reason.
my dick size. That's right, Ronnie.
All right. Thanks, Tiny.
Hey,
you make me want to move to Maine with a bomb. The thing is, you could set off a bomb in Maine and not hit anybody.
Yeah?
What's the bit? Look, do me a favor, because
sure.
you search faster
Sure.
than anybody
I'm very
in the world.
fast.
See what the biggest fucking city in Maine is, could you please? Very, very quickly.
You hear how fast he's searching there.
Nobody's quicker.
No one. The biggest city in Maine is Portland.
All right, how big is it? What's the population?
I'll find out for you.
Thank you. Search it.
Portland has a population of 64,249.
It's about the same as this building. So the fact that they get to call themselves a state, it kind of bugs me.
Now,
throw yourself in with Massachusetts. You're just really the top part of Massachusetts.
Stephen King's from Maine, isn't he? Yeah. I didn't have to even search for that one.
All right, click on that picture
good.
there in Portland. That's a picture of Portland?
This one?
Yeah. It's Roosevelt Island. Tops. Look, you could throw...
There's Fez's place right there.
Yeah. You could be standing downtown and throw a baseball at trees. By the time... There's not even suburbs. It's just country. So to be called Tiny there, Tiny...
We used to have to drive through Maine to go to my brother's college in Dartmouth, and it's weird. They're like northern Southerners. Like, they have like almost a Southern accent.
Yeah, everybody is. Once you get outside of a city anywhere, you might as well be on the blue-collar tour. It doesn't matter where you are. Go upstate New York, there's fucking rednecks. Go in Jersey, there's rednecks.
Oh, that's true.
If you go down around your neighborhood, it's fucking filled with rednecks.
I practically am one.
Yeah, you live right next door to a liquor store.
And a Dunkin' Donuts. That's all I need.
Your big thing is, I love this place because from this bar I can hear the baby cry at my house if she wakes up.
Give me another dozen whiskey filled.
It's convenient, that's all. No shame in that.
Convenience? Well, thanks for the quick search, Dave. You're always the best with that. No, I'll give you one.
Okay, all right.
I see three of these.
Yeah, I know.
I see three of
That's
these. I'm
why I
not
said
going to do it.
if.
I don't see if on here. I see I have.
If you what?
I don't keep reading. If you can't get to me. Here is Tom. Tom, you're on first.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, first of all, real quick. You said your brother went to Dartmouth?
Dartmouth.
Just checking. Oh, okay. Just checking. The other thing was just a theory on homosexuality. I mean, generally, in many cultures, sex is, for procreation. I mean, let's face facts. It's kind of the way things are made, right? Nature. And always going for natural selection, survival of the fittest. Maybe this is nature's way of weeding out those genes that never are meant to procreate, will make the guy...
If it was survival of the fittest, why would Dave be having a second kid? Now, I believe in the survival of the fittest in animals is based on physical strength. But by the time you get to humans, all of a sudden cunning and the ability to play corporate games starts to play.
A debit card.
Yeah, it's really not the same kind of survival of fittest. What we think of what you're fit to get ahead in the human race is so far away from nature. It's an embarrassment. The one thing that's let me down is the human race. Other than that, I am fine with everything. But the human race has to be the biggest disappointment there has ever been. Here's Jimmy James, the man who's really Jim.
Hey, what's going on,
Hey,
boys?
man.
Hey, I went to college in Maine. There's areas where they don't even name the towns. It's called, like, Area 6, Region 5. It's like they A6, R5. And to actually call your neighbor is long distance.
Here's what I just would like to say about Maine, and I don't want anybody to take it the wrong way. But Canada, make an offer. Just make us an offer.
Good. Then we can finally annex Puerto Rico. It's my dream.
You have no idea how far away Puerto Rico is. It is a haul from here. You ever been down there?
No, but I just want their ball players.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
It's fucking wall-to-wall Puerto Ricans. You think New York is bad? Go down to Puerto Rico. You'll be shocked the number of Puerto Ricans there.
I suppose. Seems like a very lovely geographical place, though.
It's hot. But it is. It's fantastic, to be honest. Just, when it gets at night, just go like this. Honey, let's stay in the hotel. Let's just go out there in the light. It's better. Let's sit here and drink rum out of a mini bar and go like this all night. Did you hear something? Sounded like a Puerto Rican was trying to get in. And really all the islands are like that. They're really nice until you leave the hotel. There's so many people. I've been to Jamaica a million times. Been to Kingston? Nope. Really try to stay out in the veranda in front of the hotel near the armed security. Guys, Costa Rica. The guys are going like this. Costa Rica's great. You fucking 11-year-old. Well, that's not what's stopping me. It's not the law that keeps me from having sex with children. You sick fuck. So what do you say about that, Fezzi? People that their desire, like the gay desires, to have sex with animals or sex with kids.
Well, the kids and the animals, they can't make a choice in it. That's not consenting.
Run away.
So wait a minute. Now it's a choice? The homosexual behavior is a choice? Thank you and welcome. I want you to sign off on this right here.
I'm not signing that.
You lose, sir.
I am not signing that.
You lose. I'll write it down myself.
Don't sign my name.
T-O.
Don't sign that name.
It's the only one
What's
that works.
next?
Because some people are afraid to actually change their name. Double D. You sound
Quit sounding out the one-syllable words.
How retarded do you have to be? First of all, when they used to tell you in first grade, sound it out, I go, I don't want to sound retarded. I don't want to sit here and struggle in front of the rest of the class.
I had to. I stuttered.
Do an impression of yourself when you were a
Everything
kid.
sounded like I was sounding it out when I was a kid. When I couldn't say the word hamburgers because I couldn't say R's or S's.
How would it
and
sound?
I stuttered.
How
so
would
I
it
had
sound?
Triple crown. I'm the third Triple Crown winner of the Ron Fed Show today. So I would say, good.
Oh, God, I wish I grew up near you.
Wow, it sounds more asthmatic.
A fucking redheaded stutterer.
Stutter, couldn't say R's. Or I was like, little Linnae, and I still stutter from time to time. What? Was that over the line? She's like,
she's a person. She listens, and I don't think she's stuttering. No, stuttering isn't her problem.
I meant with the other retarded speech.
She's not retarded.
Thing she has.
She's got a fucking lisp. You sick fuck. Talk about not hurting kids. You're bad as a pedophile.
You are in competition with everyone.
Let me tell you this. I'd rather get banged in the ass when I was a kid than find out I was retarded on a radio show. You've ruined this show again.
Listen, I got over my
Cross and Bladder are right about you. You're a radio cancer.
No, they're wrong. Very wrong.
Dead wrong.
I got over my illness with Honey Nut Cheerios. It's time for Linnae to do the same. You're what, 35?
That must have been hard not to have
She can't grow up. That's
She's
part of her
as fucking
problem.
tall as Helen.
She's not.
Stop it.
I hit her under a thimble.
She could be Rue McClanahan's daughter
just
on
stop.
Golden Girls.
Sit down.
It must
Sit
have
down.
been.
Sit down. Don't directly speak to him, Fez.
All right.
If you talked more, this wouldn't happen.
Sorry.
And then I could put Stutter and Stanley in the other fucking room with Chris Stanley. You know that your kid's probably going to be a stutterer, and you named him Stanley.
That was unfortunate. We didn't think about that.
After Chris Stanley, really?
I mean, Pepper had a small part to do with it. I just like the name, Stan Musial. I'm a baseball fan.
That'll mean a lot to kids. You bring out a fucking 80-year-old reference for them.
Just name him Usual.
I know. I'm not even a Cardinals fan either, but, I always thought Stan's a cool name. That's why I named it.
It isn't.
Stan.
It's not unusual.
Oh, Stan the man. Hey, the man. Here's the man. Stan's here, the man.
Look, no matter what you name that kid, they're just going to call him Red.
Come
here, Red.
I think this kid's going to look more like Casey.
Oh, I would like to see a toddler walk in and pronounce himself the man. The man is here.
I saw his big nose.
Yeah.
Well,
Why you
that's
name
not
him
from the
Goldstein?
Irish side of the family.
Why you name him
What?
Goldstein?
Come on. I'm just saying, Jewish people,
What?
He has a big nose. I saw the thing.
It happens. Fezzy, big weekend here for Ron Bennington interviews.
Ron Bennington interviews 9 o'clock this Sunday in the East. It is going to be special guest Elmore Leonard talking with Ronnie, and also a replay of the Solomon Burke interview that happens all this Sunday on Ron Bennington interviews 9 o'clock in the East, right here on the Virus XM 202 Sirius 197.
He doesn't bring up Ryan Johnson to me? Why wouldn't he say anything about Ryan Johnson?
Also, Ryan Johnson, the director.
Now he does.
Yeah, the director of Brick, and his new film, The Brothers Bloom. That's starring Rachel Weisz and Adrian Brody.
No remarks about the guy who stole the movie? Just those two?
No.
No Mark Ruffalo?
No, Mark.
Has more lines in the movie than anybody. Why don't people hate Mark Ruffalo? I've been doing that show, of course. I'm doing Unmasked. And now they're pushing me on another thing with the Ron Bennington interviews, and that's the Ron Bennington interviews Zombies, which I'm doing because Sirius has asked me, but I don't know if it has the same... I really do like to do the interviews. Mm-hmm. Zombie interviews, they're a problem. And it's mainly with them. I don't think it's me. Maybe it is. Maybe I won't change my interviewing style to meet them halfway. I'm going to play a little clip. This is a new show that we're going to be doing here. And it's a lot like Ron Bennington interviews where I talk to creative people, but this is one with just zombies. This is a very short clip of Ron Bennington interviews zombies.
Tonight on Ron Bennington interviews zombies, dead actor Paul Newman. And now, from the Sirius XM studios in New York City, Ron Bennington interviews zombies.
Welcome to Ron Bennington interviews zombies. It's such a pleasure to have one of my favorite actors in studio with us tonight, zombie Paul Newman. Paul, how long have you been dead now? People People made such a big deal about your blue eyes. Do you think it stood in the way of you being able to be thought of as a serious actor? Being part of the living dead, has it changed the way you looked at acting in America? Is there a certain time where we'll see black zombies finding themselves at the forefront of acting? You've had a long and successful career. Favorite movie? Favorite director? And favorite co-star? You look at a career of yours, you see the consistency of the acting, but at the same time, you were known for driving race cars. Get back in your seat. I know for a fact I can kill a zombie by shooting it in the head. Get back! Get back! That's Ron Bennington interviews zombie Paul Newman. We hope you'll be back next time for Ron Bennington interviews zombies, as we'll be talking with zombie John Wayne.
This exclusive presentation was recorded at the Sirius XM studios in New York City.